There was an inventor whose invention changed the world forever. Thanks to him, knowledge was no longer just a monopoly of the elite, but became a treasure everyone could access. Books left palaces and entered people's homes. Ideas crossed borders and embarked on intercontinental journeys. This revolution was so powerful that we still live under its influence today. Tonight, together, we will discover the life of Johannes Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and mention in the comments which other inventors' stories you'd like to hear. Now come, let's go to the 15th century Germany. Johannes Gensfleisch, zur Laden zum Gutenberg, was born in Mainz between 1398 and 1400. His exact birth date is uncertain because birth records weren't kept regularly at that time. This is an ironic detail. There's little written record about the man who best understood the importance of written records. His family came from the Gensfleisch lineage in Mainz, and the nickname zur Laden indicated the family's shopkeeper background. The name Gutenberg was a name he took from his mother and originated from the house they lived in. His father, Friele Gensfleisch, was from one of Mainz's notable families. He worked with gold and silver, also played a role in city administration. Johannes became familiar with metalworking from a young age. This experience would be vitally important in the future. Although the family's economic situation was good, political tensions in Mainz made their lives difficult. In the 13th and 14th centuries, German city-states were in constant conflict with each other. In Mainz, there was also a power struggle between craftsmen and noble families. In 1411, these tensions turned into open conflict. The Gensfleisch family was in danger because they sided with the nobles. In 1420, the family had to flee to Strasbourg. This exile would determine the course of Johannes's life. The Strasbourg years meant both difficulty and opportunity for Johannes. The young man in his 20s was trying to build his own professional life on the basic education his family gave him. His first job was mirror making. At that time, pilgrims bought metal mirrors when visiting holy places. These mirrors had both practical and religious meanings. Johannes quickly mastered mirror production. During this period, mirror making wasn't just flattening a metal piece. Raw material procurement, alloy preparation, mold making, polishing techniques. Each stage required separate expertise. Johannes developed the metalworking experience he learned from his father here. By trying different metal mixtures, he tried to find the alloy with the best reflection properties. He made countless trials by changing lead, tin, silver ratios. The biggest problem he encountered during mirror production was standardization. Each mirror came out in different size and quality. To solve this problem, he began developing a mold system. To produce mirrors of the same size, same quality, he thought of the master mold method. These early period works would form the foundation for the standardization of printing press letters in the future. His workshop in Strasbourg was small, but Johannes used it like a laboratory. During the day, he fulfilled customer orders. At night, he worked on his own projects. His neighbors saw the hammer sounds coming from his workshop late at night, the burning of the furnace. Gossip was spreading about Johannes's secret work. In 1434, he launched his first major venture. He planned to produce special mirrors for pilgrims who would attend the Holy Relics exhibition ceremony to be held in Aachen. He formed a partnership with Andreas Heilmann, Andreas Dritzehen, and Hans Riffe. The plan was perfect. They would produce and sell thousands of mirrors before the big pilgrim influx. However, an unexpected problem arose. The partnership agreement was prepared in detail. Each partner's contribution, profit sharing, division of labor were clearly defined. While Johannes took technical leadership, other partners took responsibility in financing and marketing matters. During the preparation period for the Aachen ceremony, the workshop was working day and night. A 10-person team was formed. Large amounts of raw materials were procured. Due to epidemic disease, the ceremony was postponed 1 year. The partners were left with the mirrors they produced. This financial crisis taught Johannes an important lesson. Unforeseen risks must be taken into account in large projects. At the same time, during this process, he gained much experience in metal casting techniques. He tried different alloys, mastered mold making, learned the intricacies of precision metalworking. During the crisis period, Johannes tried to convince his partners. The mirrors left on hand could be sold at other ceremonies. There was demand in Rome, Santiago de Compostela, other pilgrimage centers. However, his partners were getting impatient. They wanted to get their invested money back immediately. During this period, Johannes's leadership and persuasion abilities were being tested. During this period, an eyewitness living in Strasbourg wrote that Johannes was working on a secret project. The sounds coming from his workshop, the materials he brought, the experiments he did, were beyond ordinary mirror making. Johannes was mixing lead, tin, and other metals, making small molds, trying various mixtures. His neighbors were suspicious of these secret works. At the foundation of his secret work lay the text duplication problem. The production of handwritten books took a very long time, was very expensive. Copying a Bible took between 6 months and a year. Johannes began looking for a solution to this problem. His first idea was to duplicate texts with molds. He tried wooden molds, but they were not durable. He thought about metal molds. The idea of casting metal letters separately was revolutionary. Casting each letter from separate molds, then forming words by arranging them side by side. In this system, letters could be used repeatedly. Letters could be rearranged for different texts. Johannes saw the potential of this movable type system. First letter experiments failed. Lead was too soft, deformed during printing. Iron was too hard, casting quality came out poor. Johannes began adding metals like tin, antimony, bismuth to the mixture. He tried hundreds of different alloys. Each trial was costly but necessary. In 1439, his partners became suspicious of Johannes. Andreas Dritzen filed a lawsuit, thinking this secret project was being hidden from the partnership. Court records give important clues in Johannes's defense. I am working on a special art. This art has not been completed yet. This matter is not included in our partnership agreement. This statement shows that printing press experiments began in the late 1430s. The court process was a stressful period for Johannes. He might have to reveal technical secrets. Dritzehen wanted the right to inspect the workshop. In this case, Johannes's project could remain unfinished. He carefully prepared his defense. He tried to prove that his secret project didn't yet have commercial value, wasn't related to the partnership's current affairs. The court process resulted against Johannes, but this didn't stop him. He continued working on his secret project. In the early 1440s, he began obtaining first concrete results. The special alloy consisting of lead, tin, and antimony mixture was perfect for casting letters. These letters were both durable and of quality that could make precise printing. The first big problem was letter standardization. In handwritten books, each letter was unique, but in the printing press, all letters had to be the same. Johannes developed a special mold system for each letter. In this system, hundreds of the same letter were cast from the master mold. The height, width, and thickness of each letter had to be the same, with millimetric precision. Otherwise, the print didn't come out properly. The making of letter molds was Johannes's greatest achievement. For each letter, he first made a wooden original. Then he carved this original into a copper mold. The copper mold was called patrix. From the patrix, the master mold called matrix was extracted. From the matrix, unlimited numbers of letters were cast. This three-stage system required tremendous precision. The second big problem was the composition of ink. Traditional water-based inks used in handwritten books didn't hold on metal surface. Johannes had to develop a new oil-based formula. This ink, consisting of a mixture of linseed oil, pine resin, lead oxide, and soot, was both compatible with metal letters and permanent on paper. Developing the formula took months. While developing the ink formula, he experienced countless trials and errors. The first mixtures came out too dark, left stains on paper. Some came out too light, were illegible. Adjusting the drying time was also difficult. Ink that dried too quickly remained on letters. Ink that dried too slowly made smears on paper. Johannes took notes after each trial, developed the formula step by step. The third difficulty was designing the printing mechanism. He established a controlled printing system by adapting traditional wine presses. Too much pressure caused damage to letters. Too little pressure caused blurry printing. Johannes found the ideal printing pressure by adjusting the screw system. He also needed to control the moisture content of paper, because dry paper didn't absorb ink. Modification of the printing press required great expertise. Wooden screws used in wine presses were too crude for printing. Johannes developed metal screws. The flatness of the printing table was critical. Even the smallest curvature caused irregular printing of letters. He constantly checked the table surface for perfect flatness, made adjustments. In 1448, he returned to Mainz. Now he had solved technical problems, but faced a new problem: financing. The cost of establishing a printing press was very high. Casting metal letters, producing special ink, setting up the press system, procuring quality paper. Johannes's savings weren't sufficient. Returning to Mainz wasn't easy. His old enemies in the city still existed. His family's properties had changed hands. Johannes restarted by renting a small workshop. The first months were very hard. He couldn't find customers. Old friends were acting distant, looking at his technology with suspicion. His meeting with Johann Fust was the turning point of his life. Fust was a successful moneylender and entrepreneur in Mainz. When he saw Johannes's project, he understood its potential, but was also aware of its risks. In 1450, he lent 800 gulden. This money was a large amount for that time, equivalent to 5 to 6 years' salary of a master craftsman. Negotiations with Fust lasted months. Fust wanted to learn the details. Johannes was trying to explain the project's potential while protecting technical secrets. Finally, they reached an agreement. The loan would be given at 6% annual interest. Johannes would establish the workshop, buy equipment, employ workforce. Fust wanted regular reports. His first commercial product came out in 1454. Donatus's Latin grammar book, Ars Grammatica. This 28-page book was technically successful, but didn't meet commercial expectations. Typography quality was at a level that could compete with handwritten books, but sales figures were disappointing. The Ars Grammatica project showed Johannes's meticulousness. Each page was checked dozens of times. Letter arrangement, line spacing, margins were calculated millimetrically. Johannes was a perfectionist. Even the smallest error bothered him. This meticulousness increased quality but prolonged the process. Meanwhile, he was also doing various small jobs: indulgence letters, calendars, brochures, official announcements. The income from these small jobs kept the business afloat, but wasn't enough to amortize the big investment. Fust began to get impatient, wanted repayment of the debt. The indulgence letters business was both income and promotional source for Johannes. The church was printing these letters for pilgrims. They were standard formats, but required quality printing. Johannes was gaining technical experience from these jobs, at the same time expanding his customer portfolio. Each job brought new connections. Johannes's real goal was much bigger: to print the Bible. This would be the biggest challenge both technically and commercially. The Bible was the best-selling book at that time. Both churches and individual customers bought it. However, the project was of enormous dimensions. It would be around 1,300 pages and had to be printed in perfect quality. Bible project planning took months. Johannes was calculating which translation to use, how to do page layout, how many copies to print. He chose the Vulgate translation because it was accepted by the church. He preferred 2-column layout, thus would reduce page count. Each page would contain 42 lines. In 1452, he started the Bible project. Each page would contain 42 lines. Therefore, it's known as the 42-line Bible. He was creating a revolution in typography design, capturing the aesthetics of handwritten books with metal letters. He designed special ornamental characters for initial letters, calculated page layout with perfect proportions. The Bible's typography design showed Johannes's artistic talent. The size, thickness, slope of each letter was carefully calculated. He designed ornamental versions for capital letters. He added decorative elements for page margins. The result came out in aesthetics that could compete with the most beautiful handwritten Bible examples. As the project progressed, relations with Fust became tense. Fust lent another 800 gulden more, but this time wanted partnership. He also brought in a talented calligraphy master named Peter Schoeffer. Schoeffer was completing Johannes's technical knowledge with artistic talent. Peter Schoeffer's participation brought new dimension to the project. Schoeffer was a master in calligraphy, bringing suggestions to Johannes in typography design. At the same time, his organizational skills were strong. He had taken active role in project management. Johannes initially didn't welcome this interference, but eventually appreciated Schoeffer's contributions. In 1455, the Bible was completed. 180 copies were printed, 45 on durable vellum, 135 on paper. Each copy contained approximately 1,300 pages. It was a groundbreaking success in terms of quality, but financial problems had grown exponentially. The completion of the Bible was a source of great pride for Johannes. Each copy was of manuscript quality, but was produced much faster. The perfect arrangement of letters, the quality of ink, the whiteness of paper. Every detail was flawless. Johannes had achieved his life's greatest success. Fust no longer hid his impatience. Total debt, including interest, had reached 2,000 gulden. Paying this amount was impossible for Johannes. In November 1455, Fust applied to court. During the lawsuit process, Fust wanted not only the money, but also the workshop and equipment to pass to him. The court process was devastating for Johannes. The judge ruled in Fust's favor. All printing equipment, ready letters, ink, paper stocks, passed to Fust. Johannes lost the means of production without fully seeing the fruits of his invention. This situation deeply shook him, but he didn't give up. Peter Schoeffer and Fust formed a partnership and expanded the business. In 1457, they printed the Psalms book called Mainz Psalterium. In this book, they used the techniques Johannes developed, but never mentioned his name. The inventor's contribution was forgotten. Commercial success went to others. Johannes continued small-scale printing. He formed a new partnership with Dr. Conrad Humery. In the 1460s, he printed the Latin dictionary called Catholicon. This project showed his technical mastery, but achieved limited commercial success. Now several more printing presses had been established in Mainz, and competition had begun. Technology was spreading rapidly. Johannes's former apprentices and competitors were going to various cities in Germany, opening printing presses: Cologne, Augsburg, Nuremberg, Ulm. Printing was no longer just Johannes's monopoly. This spread gave him both pride and sadness. In 1462, a major political crisis occurred in Mainz. The archbishopric struggle between Adolf von Nassau and Dieter von Isenburg disrupted the city. During the war, many printers fled the city. The spread of technology accelerated with this migration. Printers were establishing new workshops everywhere they went. During this period, a bright development occurred in Johannes's life. In 1465, Mainz Archbishop Adolf von Nassau gave him the title Hofmann. With this title came annual salary, clothing allowance, and tax exemption. Perhaps it was the first official recognition showing his invention's value was being understood. His last years passed calmly, away from financial difficulties. He was watching the spread of printing press technology to Europe. Venice in Italy had become the new center of printing. Innovative printers like Aldo Manuzio were adding new dimensions to technology. Small-sized books, portable versions, different typography styles. At the end of these calm years, Johannes passed away in Mainz on February 3rd, 1468. When Johannes died, his invention had already become a force, much greater than him. Printing presses were operating in more than 30 cities in Germany. New workshops continued to open in Italy, France, England. The revolution Gutenberg started had turned into a force no one could stop. The social effects of the printing press were revolutionary. By 1500, printing presses had been established in approximately 250 European cities. 15 to 20 million books had been printed. The biggest impact occurred in the field of religion. Martin Luther's 95 Theses spread throughout Europe in 1517, thanks to the printing press. The Protestant Reformation movement largely depended on the power of the printing press. The scientific revolution was also the work of the printing press. The works of scientists like Copernicus, Vesalius, couldn't have had this effect without the printing press. The education system fundamentally changed. Literacy rate increased rapidly. Johannes Gutenberg's story isn't just a story of technological innovation. This is the story of a struggle between an inventor and surrounding forces, a visionary man's battle with financial difficulties. Thanks to him, knowledge was no longer just a monopoly of the elite, but became a resource everyone could access. This is the story of Johannes Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press. A life going back and forth between technical genius and financial struggle, vision and reality. If you enjoyed this narrative, don't forget to like and mention in the comments which other historical figure stories you'd like to hear. See you in the next video. Goodbye.